Yeah, all right. And it's streaming this Twitter. It's streaming Twitter. This is where I didn't find out about this from Twitter, but I found out from people linking the Twitter on Discord, is that today some guy named Slick Jimmy, and here's the thing, I've only vaguely heard of this. I've heard of Little Girl Lethal a couple times, and Slick Jimmy, I think, is a name I guess has been a couple times familiar from other stuff. But there's this account called comicsgate posting their L's, which I don't even know who runs it. I don't really give a shit. And I don't
It
like.
doesn't matter.
I
That's a
assume it could
thing.
be like some former war campaign guy, or could be some SJW, or just an average
It's
former
always like it's
person.
probably just some fucking yet another Comicsgate refugee. We're very tired of those.
Yeah, the thing is that I've seen this account a few times, and it's, it posts some funny stuff, but not even a lot of stuff happens in Comicsgate regularly enough to run an account like this, I think. But at the same time, they always seem to have something new. But what happened lately, and in fact, this was what I saw first, was the Jack Irons guy said it's been discovered that Slick Jimmy was arrested for possession of child pornography. This is sickening and destroys every bit of ignorant, naive trust I had left. I was caught blindsided and dumb, and some work depicting his OC appears in our printed work. And the thing is, Jack Irons isn't related to Comicsgate, by the way. So this isn't, it's not related in any way. He was never CG. He was really never endorsed by CG. And in fact, CG was sort of, going into denial about his existence, like just I guess what Richard used to refer to as Voldemorting. They would do that pretty often with a lot of people who basically didn't bend the knee to Ethan Van Sciver's personal loyalty brigade, which is what Comicsgate was all along. And most people still don't know it. They're not aware of it. They don't want to be aware of it. But the thing is that, what's mentioned is Jack Irons guy points out that like one of his characters has a cameo or something in one of their books, and they can't do anything about it because it would cost so much money to go back and edit or reprint and that kind of stuff. Something similar happened with Nasser, where some guy paid Nasser like $500 to be in the comic, and then after Nasser became a declared enemy by Ethan Van Sciver and was like, Nasser's evil. He's the worst piece of shit betrayer possible. And everyone in Comicsgate, they listen and believe shills that inherently are comic book fans. They're like, oh, Nasser is fucking bad. So the guy who paid the money was like, take my likeness out of your comic, and I want the money back. But the money had already been spent, and they couldn't.
Like, how stupid do you have to be to even fucking ask for that in the first place?
Yeah, so basically, that's from the very beginning how Ethan Van Sciver was all about attacking other people's businesses and livelihoods for intensely deep psychological reasons that have already been gone into. And people who know Ethan Van Sciver personally and privately know that he's like that. But the normie fan, the little person, the prole in Comicsgate has no clue what Ethan Van Sciver's like. So there's a lot of this going around, and Slick Jimmy is just another one he was one of those guys who was always around. Ethan was always having him on, always bringing him onto streams. He was legitimately, Ethan Van Sciver was bringing pedos onto streams before he would have people like us on, of course, because we're the ones who are not afraid to tell the truth to people's faces, even if it makes them mad. So there's a lot of context about the grand thing of Comicsgate. Comicsgate essentially had a huge amount of people being paid to attack other creators. They called it tribunals, and there was some doxing. Ethan Van Sciver doxed some of his own customers, and
a bunch of stalking
about that.
A lot of them are guilty of a whole bunch of actual crimes too.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Liam Gray, for example, not just the crimes that he was, convicted of, and, people in War Campaign also convicted of multiple crimes involving comicsgate. Interestingly enough, but also Liam Gray's failed attempt at blackmail, which Ethan Van Sciver realized he now had a direct financial connection to. Anyways, I had a few beers yesterday, so today I'm kind of just hungover, and I had no intention or desire to stream, but I figured we would do a short video about a lot of this stuff going on.
These comicsgate motherfuckers, these loser pieces of shit. They're fucking forcing us to make streams about them.
Yeah,
they can't keep their heads together for fucking one single day.
They ain't got no brain in their head.
Before suddenly it's like, oh, it turns out one of them's a pedophile.
Mm-hmm.
Yet again, one more comicsgate member caught committing actual crimes.
Well, that's the other thing, is that comicsgate was involved in comicsgate's pretty much neck deep already in like a weird connection with child abuse with that umbrella guy, or we call him Yellow Umbrella, because again, like Ethan himself said, there's not really any difference between them.
As he himself admitted.
Umbrella Guy was basically whoring out his daughter for YouTube clicks by throwing a 5-year-old girl in front of the camera, who in fact we'll get to that. There's a video clip coming up. In fact, maybe here it is. I'm going to play this. This is about 29 seconds, so you're not going to be able to hear this, but it should play on the stream. I don't know if it will play on the stream. If you can't hear it on the stream, let me know, I guess. But here, I'm going to play this because this is interesting interaction on a stream with Lola, Tug's friend, and Slick Jimmy. The thing is, Lola's actually Umbrella Guy's wife, and Slick Jimmy references the 5-year-old daughter that Tug was whoring out for YouTube attention a couple years ago, and then when he was criticized about it, specifically by us, he started faking death threats against himself in order to get attention. And everyone in Comicsgate, every last person in Comicsgate, took Tug's side with zero evidence. Anyways, here, I'm going to play this video. It'll be like half a minute long, so I'll let you know when it's done.
Align yourself with yourself and believe what you want good comics.
Look, I think I know who your husband is, all right? And I think I'm his friend. And I think I'm your friend by extension. And I think I know who your little girl is. And I love her. I listen all the time. And I appreciate what...
Please don't dox me.
I'm not doxing you.
Yeah, there's some weird uncomfortable laughter. Anyways, all right, that's the video. I don't know if that played for the stream. Hopefully you were able to hear, because I think I did audio share it because I clicked the thing.
I heard it.
Oh, you were able to hear it. You know what? That's pretty cool, I guess. Yeah. But yeah, very weird stuff, because that was apparently the pedo talking about how he loves Tug and Lola's 5-year-old daughter, who they had no problem exploiting their own 5-year-old daughter for internet clicks and shit. But there's a lot of cope going around, people trying to act like, oh no, we don't know who this guy is. But here's the story, because he's convicted. Here's a screen cap of a tweet from Rags. Rags changed their fucking Twitter name to 2 days since the last CG incident, saying, for those who, like me, were friends, associates, or worked with Slick Jimmy, I hate to be the bringer of this news, but everyone deserves to know. I carry no malice and hope he gets the help he needs, but FYSA, which stands for Fiesa. You
fuck yourself, asshole.
Yes. But yeah, so it's kind of sad. The guy's, his picture's out there, and there's a lot of Rags and Jack Irons. I think what happened with the Slick Jimmy guy is he was a bootlick for Comicsgate, but then he would go around to these other promising comics and try to ingratiate and sleaze his way into them. And, not inherently knowing, because you can't look at a person and say, oh, there's a pedo I know psychically. No one's a psychic. I didn't know anything about this guy. I have no idea if I even have any interactions with him.
I never heard of him before.
No, I've very vaguely heard of him, and I think his logo, I think it's familiar because I've seen it on other Ethan Van Sciver streams, though. Ethan would have the guy on all the time.
I will say this is another really stellar example of why it's good not to trust generally people who are involved in cape shit comics.
Yeah, just in general, like the whole
Comicsgate.
respect the fan. It's like respect is earned. You shouldn't just have to respect the fan by default. Just don't attack them. That's all you really. That's what Comicsgate really thought it should have believed, but never knew that it didn't or not. Which
We were right.
doesn't make sense.
We were right from the start to be, to mistrust them.
You don't have to trust or respect any customer. Just let them exist. You shouldn't have interaction. That's the thing. Is that Comicsgate and Richard begged for positive interactions from creators because they wanted validation. They wanted a parasocial relationship by nature.
I mean, we're not even going after any customers. This is other creators. I'm looking at these creators and I'm saying, well, you want to make cape shit even though no one wants to read it.
Mm-hmm. And here's the thing: is
not be allowed to.
Rags and the Jack Irons guy, both of them are just coming out in public and right out in the open and say, "Oh yeah, this guy tried to be involved with us. We didn't know anything about him." So that's the thing. That's what the truth looks like. That's what somebody looks like when they actually don't know anything about him. But when it comes to Comicsgate, all of them are trying to act like they never knew him. So that's the difference. Is these other guys are honest because they're just coming out and being open with it. Everyone else in Comicsgate is being deceptive and misrepresenting about it. That's how you can tell that most likely they had some awareness and were helping to cover it up because, again, Comicsgate helped cover up, not just Comicsgate, of course, but a lot of people helped cover up what that Umbrella guy was really like.
It's an important element that people need to understand better about Comicsgate to begin with.
Yeah, or really any internet fandom.
A lot of these people are actually guilty of stuff that we haven't even heard yet.
Yes.
This is just another example of that.
Yes, there's a lot of stuff that's behind the scenes like this that people in Comicsgate know about and are burying. They're keeping it covered up. They probably know other stuff exactly like this. Maybe worse, maybe at least not as bad. Thing is, that's not to say even the stuff that's already public, like Ethan Van Sciver doxing his own customers, paying people to attack his customers.
Members of Water Closets stalking people in real life.
Yeah, and of course doxing their own customers as well, basically using Indiegogo's backer information to collect docs and then blackmail people and be like, oh, if you do this, I'll get your docs out there and you'll be attacked. That's already happened with Ethan Van Sciver and people in Water Closet, War Campaign, whatever. The people in War Campaign, though, were already publicly, the entire point of the group was to attack other creators and customers who were in Comicsgate. So there is no integrity or morality.
And they're called War Campaign. Again, I have to keep pointing it out.
Yeah.
They call themselves War Campaign.
They're called War Campaign.
Why do you think
the first tip?
Who calls themselves that unless they're a docs brigade?
Yeah, and the other thing is that's kind of what this Comicsgate posting their L's is making fun of, is like, oh, really? You didn't know this guy was a pedo? And it's like, oh, let's see. Here, Comicsgate posting their L's just says, really? And then Slick Jimmy's Twitter saying, just leaving this very carefully, kids, smirk face, and then Pedo Bear was holding a sign saying free hugs. And then another screen cap of Wikipedia Pedo Bear, which was an internet meme. That one goes way back. I remember that on B is on 4chan. Well, across 4chan, that was Pedo Bear became such a meme that eventually they just called him Running Bear, and Running Bear likes to run, and it's just people would ruin the meme by making it wholesome. That's like a very early example of that too, but he was generally seen as
the character originally was innocent. The character originally had nothing to do with Pedo Bear. It was some Japanese goofy.
It was some Japanese goofy like bear design that was like cute bear, and then so 4chan was like it's a pedophile.
That's typical of 4chan, especially at the beginning.
But the thing is that clearly in this instance, this Slick Jimmy guy had no intention because as according to the story, he had like thousands and thousands of pics and videos of children with engaged in sexual things. I don't even know specifically what, but I don't really know
knowing, and honestly, it doesn't matter. Usually, even then, fucking, I'm used to trying to defend people who are accused of this shit.
Well, yeah, because it's like, is this one of those situations where someone's just being called a pedo because they had some Japanese comics or something? It's like, oh, they're just drawings. And like, if they are just drawings, I don't really give a shit.
Somebody got pissed off. Somebody in comicsgate or either side, the left or the right. It's like, oh, this person's a pedophile. Yeah, what evidence do you have of that? Well, they're making a bunch of spicy tweets on Twitter. Or
Ethan Van Sciver once referred to Miss Sashi, as a pedo because I think she drew like a 16-year-old anime character who was attractive or something. And it's like, okay, it's just drawings. But meanwhile, Ethan Van Sciver was having a literal pedophile on as a friend.
Yeah, so defending this guy and definitely not trying to reveal him. That's the key thing of all of this is Comicsgate very likely knew
I think Ethan knew. In fact, I think it's possible that Ethan tried to direct this guy. It's entirely possible. Now, this is pure fucking conspiracy theory, tinfoil hat stuff. But I think it's possible that Ethan, as a gay op, directed this pedo to the Rags or Jack Irons guy, because he was like, when this guy gets caught, then it'll make them look bad. Ethan has already done stuff like that in the past. But even I don't actually think this. I just think it's a good conspiracy theory. But
I believe
this guy's still a pedo, and he was friends.
They're already guilty of worse. Yes, they're actually guilty of worse already.
Yeah, they're already guilty, in some cases criminally convicted. And it's funny watching some of these people act like they have some moral standing when they've been like neck deep in this. People in War Campaign, Comicsgate, any of that. Even people who have left Comicsgate are going to act like, oh no, I don't have anything to do. I don't know. The only people I'll really give a pass to, again, is Rags and Jack Irons guys, because clearly they didn't know. And the fact that they're coming out in public proves really that they didn't know.
Ethan Van Sciver, Mr. Daddy Can't Rape Us All. Apparently,
Uncle Ethan. He wanted people. In fact, he called himself Uncle Ethan before anyone else did. That's something that also gets forgotten. Is people act like, oh, we call him Uncle Ethan because it's like, how much more creepy child molestery can you make somebody sound? And then they start calling him Caesar, and it's like, oh, it's even more creepy.
And then they do a song. Then he does a song called Daddy Can't Rape Us All.
And not only that, but he acts like, yeah, you get fucking triggered by that. And it's like, no, you're an actual creep who's friends with actual child molesters. Other people saying, yikes, this guy was leaving clues. And another thing is hashtag always punch Nazis person. And also Renfamous, actually, I noticed.
Now it's time to virtue signal. The perfect opportunity. Never miss an opportunity to virtue signal.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that these SJWs just given another giant W from fucking Comicsgate, willingly handed over. They just handed over another defeat for fucking Comicsgate. Why would Comicsgate allow themselves to do this? I don't know, but they're constantly doing that.
I'm not making them do this. Again, they're always going to be mad at us. They're going to be pissed off at us that we made this video, but it's their own fault to show this, that we're showing their behavior. 0 days now without Comicsgate tricks.
It's now 0 days without their sneaky tricks and creepy behavior. Like here's a Comicsgate posting. Their L's has another tweet saying Tug already trying to distance himself from Slick Jimmy. Here's the thing: Slick Jimmy was not just an associate of Tug; he was a family friend of Tug, because you can see the way he talked about it was like, I love your daughter. And Tug's wife was like, yeah. But also awkward, weird laughter. That was suspiciously telling, which implies that she knew ahead of time.
Is that her fucking icon too? Is just her fucking fat ass or some?
No, it's somebody else's. No, because she's basically like 600 pounds. So no, the icon she was using was some hot chick, because she would do that constantly, where she would send guys pictures of a hot chick, say it's hers, to fish for dick pics. This is Tug's wife fishing for dick pics only like a couple years ago, while they're raising their fucking 4 or 5-year-old daughter and using her for internet fucking attention.
That family is already a fucking trash fire.
I would not be surprised if Tug exposed his underage daughter to this kind of either this kind of behavior or possibly even sold his daughter out to pedophiles.
Could find out more later. We're just finding out about this. This is breaking news.
Yeah, this is only what we are just now hearing about. There's a lot more that could be worse. That people in Comicsgate, they keep secrets. They keep a lot of secrets, and in fact, it's weird how they keep secrets about stuff that's been public for years. Ethan's behavior has been public for years, to the point where people have walked away from the movement because of him. So again, there's a lot of really suspicious shit that nobody really digs into.
But I mean, you never know. It could go even deeper,
Yeah,
even
but
darker.
I wouldn't be surprised for even 1 second. I wouldn't be surprised if Ethan Van Sciver's personally involved in this kind of stuff. I wouldn't. Not only would I not be surprised that Tug's involved, but I already think that he is.
I mean,
think
I
he's either involved or he just knew the whole time.
I warn people about red flags a lot, and these people are throwing out so many red. Before I even found out about the crimes, it was like, okay, this person is already acting squirrely just based on what they say, just based on what they tell others. Tug and fucking yellow faggot umbrella.
Yellow Tug. Yeah, these people have always been creep. Here's the thing: Tug has always been a creep since the very beginning.
But he's also a retard.
Really creepy in his behavior.
He's straight up retarded, though.
Yeah, there's also that, of course. But
I mean, I don't mean that as like a funny
lot
joke.
of people who cover for him, like Nick Rekieta, possibly is also aware of this kind of stuff, and I wouldn't be surprised for even 1 second. Because the thing is that Nick Rekieta has already simped for Umbrella Guy after Umbrella Guy faked death threats against him and his family and refused to prove it, and in fact told people, not to look at any evidence and just demanded that people believe.
In fact,
Rekieta was completely on his side on that.
There's evidence controverting his claims.
Yes, the evidence actually proves that Tug was lying. And that's the thing, is that there's a lot of stories. There's more stories than we've ever even hinted at of people behind the scenes going to guys like Rekieta and being like, hey, I need to be able to go on because a lot of people are lying about me, but I can't get my story out. No one's believing me. No one even listens to me. And Rekieta gets told behind the scenes, yeah, don't listen. Don't have that guy on. You're not allowed to have that guy on. And Rekieta obeys because we're
ordering you, basically ordering beta Rekieta.
He's a person who takes orders from other internet e-celebs. That's his nature. And that's also what Ethan Van Sciver is like, and Tug, Yellow Tug, and all these people. And it's usually to cover up stuff like this or stuff that's already been. See, this is something that wasn't public. Think about the stuff that already has been public. Like, again, Tug abusing his children, or really just exploiting his children at least. Tug abusing his children is something we may not even know the true depth of.
Yeah, it could be worse.
At least yet.
I suspect it could get even worse.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised when I heard about this, like a Comicsgate guy turning out to be an actual pedophile. I wasn't surprised for even 1 second because their behavior is already identical to most pedos who, act really entitled. They're constantly playing the victim the same way Tug does, and the same way Ethan did. Like, Ethan would fake cry on streams because some SJW said something about him on Twitter about how he owed a lot of money on his previous house and had to fucking default on the mortgage or something. He started fake crying, and it's like, that's psychopath behavior. And that's what leads to stuff like this. That's what leads to covering for guys like this, not just knowing about it, but covering up for it. So again, yeah, I just wanted to do a little stream. Little, like the children that this guy wants to molest, apparently. Oh, I'm getting a DM, but I can't show the DM on stream. But so Tug is trying to distance himself because pretty obviously because Tug knows he's already publicly, like, people can just see how close he was with this guy.
It goes to show how stupid Tug is again.
But also very strangely, Nerd Wonder, here's a tweet, Nerd Wonder saying he is a great guy who has a lot of heavy passion for a story. Wow, that heavy passion. Very weird way to put it, especially similar to passionately passion, like Liam was saying to her in DMs. Jimmy possesses something many new creators in TIG industry lack: heart. He loves his creation and wants to share it with everyone. And apparently, like the story.
Okay, they think that nobody else loves their own creations. I'm sure there's people out there in the big two, but there's more than just the big two out there, right? There are a lot of indie creators. They probably, I would like to think they all love their creations. Who the fuck are these people hanging around with?
Now, here's another interesting tweet, though. More comicsgate sycophants are deleting tweets in hopes to hide the support of pedos, including Slick Jimmy. Here's VLNet. Now, again, someone else I don't know, but this is why I don't really retweet a lot of other people's comics unless I personally know them. So basically, the only comics I retweet are, well, not even personally know them, but if I've just read their comics, like the Bale Buddy guy who just does those little doodles, usually as Patreon requests, and those are funnier and more interesting comics than pretty much everyone.
Yeah, those are actually better. Those are better than everything Comicsgate does, and he does those basically for free.
But I see he does them as Patreon requests. But I see a lot of other people like sharing and because that is the only way to get the word out. I understand, but I'm never going to really retweet anyone else's Indiegogo campaigns anymore.
A lot of these are garbage too. Look at this shit. I mean, this comic itself, it's like, okay, it's just Harley Quinn.
She was abused as a child, though, so she's sexy now or something. And it's like, that's okay. That's creepy. That's pedo shit right there.
But again, I mean, just Harley Quinn. He just stole the character of Harley Quinn. Mm-hmm. And it's like, wow, so much love for the character that he couldn't even come up with an original idea.
And here's another one, retweeting and endorsing Nasser's new comic, which is like, hey, I would do that too, but I'm only going to fucking retweet or endorse comics that I personally would buy. I have to buy it, which means I'm not going to retweet anyone's comics. Because by my standards, none of them are really any good. The only exception, of course, it's not an exception. The rule is Common America, because I do buy that. I fucking pay for that, even though I could get Common America for free if I just asked, hey, can I get a PDF of the comic when it comes out? I'm sure I could get that because Tim is like, oh, okay, he is very friendly, and he likes people.
That's what
in the face of a million lies, which is
what Tim does.
Truth in the face of a million lies.
Tim goes and actually supports people who support him for real.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it's like to actually support somebody.
Yeah,
I guess Hutz doesn't have any concept of that.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, the thing is that Nasser's comics is like, okay, they exist, but unless I would actually pay money for them, that, if I wanted to really pay money for them, which I don't really give a shit. But here, there's also something else I wanted to actually screen share, which should be Brave tab. I don't need to share audio for this one, at least. I think I will anyways, just in case. But here's the campaign for Little Girl Lethal, which is the guy's comic. He got $26,000 by 729 backers. But this is really interesting. $18,000 by 486 backers on December 30th, 2018, which means that's when the campaign ended. People put their campaigns into in demand so they can keep collecting money for their campaign. But it goes to show 2018, his comic is 2 years overdue, and going into the comics,
he got paid for it. He's gotten more than enough money to get the comic made.
Yeah, look at that. That's all money that came from Comicsgate. Comicsgate, that's what you're endorsing. You're paying pedophiles to make comics that don't even come out. Gee, what a shame. It's like the food here is so terrible and such small portions. It's like, oh, we're paying for this pedo comic by a pedo, and it doesn't even come out. I don't know what's worse. What's worse?
Well, it would be worse for the comic to not come out or for the comic to actually come out.
Yeah, that's all, again, the old joke about Comicsgate is what is worse, a fucking Comicsgate comic that's late or a Comicsgate comic that actually gets.
Would it be SE Mods Law? Oh no, wait, I already have that.
The SE Mods Law is SJWs always project, but the thing is that
yeah, so I can't have two laws.
No, we can't have two laws. You can't have two. I'm not going to open two jars. Can't be.
Well, we'll call it. We'll have to call it something else. Call it Patriarchal Apes Law.
Yes, you know what? That's pretty good.
Is that the only thing worse than a Comicsgate comic that's late? Is a Comicsgate comic that eventually gets released?
It's actually that's more like the Raymond Porce Law.
Raymond Porce.
Anyways, yeah. So the comments on this though are kind of funny. Can I zoom in on this and it'll be show up better? Okay, yeah, that's a little better. Here, the top comment 6 hours ago. Yeah, we need refunds on this thing. With what came out, it would also look good for Indiegogo to get rid of this project on their site, which Comicsgate would refer to that as false flagging. When one of them gets shut down for actually justified legal reasons, Comicsgate calls that false flagging. The same way that Ethan Van Sciver calls telling the truth gay ops. Because he doesn't actually know what the words mean.
The comic's already funded.
Yeah, here's the thing. You probably don't hold your breath on these refunds. You'll probably never get your money back. The comic will never come out. You'll never get your money back. And Indiegogo probably can't get they sent the money. So the money's his.
I don't want them to get their money back either.
No, they don't deserve. If you backed this, you don't deserve to get your money back.
You
supported a pedo, but you also supported, on top of supporting a literal pedophile, you supported gay ops and doxing and false flagging and all that kind of shit. All the stuff, all the fake beliefs that Comicsgate pretended to hold and never ever actually.
This is simply another new example of the depths they regularly sink to.
This is why we always say we hope that Ethan Van Sciver actually does get millions of dollars, because we want his backers to be stolen from. We want them to be ripped off for what's essentially a forgotten comic already. It's a comic that nobody outside of the cult gives a shit about. Nobody else in comics gives a shit about anything.
We've actually already shown that most of his backing is from one person, and it's just like it's an attempt to drum up extra business.
Well, yeah, not from one person, but from a suspicious fucking the rich pay pig. Again, that story's fucking old. That's years old. Anyone who's not aware of that has been burying their heads in the sand at this point.
But the point is that it worked to at least get probably a little bit more cash, and I am so glad. Yeah. Those people deserve to be fleeced.
Yeah, as long as it gets flushed down the toilet, which it is. It's for basically junk and kitsch and cheap throwaway merchandise, essentially. That's massively overpriced.
Some Chinese fucking factory.
I wish that Xenotype made like at least 100K. I wish it would have made like 200K or something, because I'm so happy when I see how much of that money got flushed down the fucking toilet. And the same thing, Richard's comics I could do is hilariously dog shit.
Sticking an eternal middle finger up in the face of every single one of the fucking idiots who supported the campaign. And then after 2 years of getting nothing, they're like, I am never supporting anyone else ever again for the rest of my life because of this. And it's like, okay, thanks for not having a reason to even exist.
Yeah, thanks for basically having no real integrity and not actually being a supporter of comics. You were just a pay pig for an e-cult, for e-celebs, essentially. That's all anyone in Comicsgate ever was and ever will be.
They wanted either the parasocial relationship or even worse, they didn't even want that much.
Yeah, which is quite gay. Anyways, so yeah, 6 hours. Somebody says that Indiegogo, that they should get refunds. You won't. Indiegogo should get rid of the project, which they might, but it won't give the money back. Of course, the money's gone.
Yeah, there's no reason to get rid of the project. This isn't an actual fucking. This isn't a catalog of fucking children being molested. Yeah, it's a shitty ass comic book. Just like any of your other shitty ass comic books in Comicsgate.
10 hours ago, somebody else says, so are we getting refunds or what? No. The answer to that is no, by the way.
The answer to that should be ha ha.
Ha ha. You wasted your money. Just you're gonna have to just live with how you waste your money on this stupid shit.
They
You're not
did care.
rewarding meritocracy. These
Again,
people didn't have any merit to start with.
This is 10 hours ago. The comic is 2 years late, and now they care because of this legal issue.
Once the campaign closes, refunds are off the table. And here's the thing is, nobody owes you a refund. If you spend money on any crowdfunding campaign, they warn you up front. You will probably not get this money back, and it may be a waste of money. It's pay at your own risk. And these
Buyer
people
beware.
act like they have any integrity or fucking morality or principles or anything when they don't.
But again, they didn't have a problem with any of that for 2 years. They just forgot about it. Apparently, the thing that made them remember wasn't the fact that the comic was never coming out. It's the fact that the fucking creator was going to jail.
Yeah, in fact, here 13 hours ago, refunds need to be opened back up. That won't be happening. At this point, I don't want the book anymore. I can deal with the book being late.
They don't want the book anymore.
Yeah, Comicsgate doesn't really want books. They want virtue signaling.
They were never getting a book.
The entire movement was just virtue signaling to start with, proven by their behavior. Not by my arguments, but by their own actions. That's what proves it. So I don't need to even fucking make an argument. They've already proven me right. And in fact, all of this is just more proof that we were right. Comicsgate has been corrupt for years. That all of this shows.
At this point, I don't even need to prove anything anymore.
Comicsgate supports pedophilia. Comicsgate is openly supporting pedophilia. End of story.
With Comicsgate, I can make any claim I want. It will be proven true eventually.
Well, that's kind of
look at this
magic wizard.
I actually speculated on something exactly like this. That there was something deep and dark that was just being hidden behind the scenes at Comicsgate that nobody had heard of yet. And sure enough, here it is, pedophilia. The next thing I'm going to say that I actually already speculated on, somebody's murdered somebody in Comicsgate.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, or will in the future.
Somebody is a murderer.
A couple of them have openly talked about how they want to do that. Of course,
I mean they've already said they want to fucking kill
and those people have
Hitler.
You can't say Comicsgate's innocent of that. Comicsgate has directly funded and financed.
We already covered this.
No
when you call somebody the worst evil, you're referring to somebody as being the worst evil. I mean, what are you saying when you call somebody the worst evil? The only thing you're saying is that you want them dead.
I'm sure that people in War Campaign have molested children before too, and they know about it and have covered up for it.
More than one.
Yeah.
Not just one. It's more than one.
Pretty obvious. The thing is, the pedo accusation has been played out because people in Comicsgate throw it around for everyone because, as we now discover, it's projection. When somebody in Comicsgate calls anyone a pedo, they're projecting. When we do it, it's based off of their actual behavior. End of story. We win QED.
Yeah,
we win again. Every single time we make an argument, Comicsgate loses. That's been consistent to the point where other people in Comicsgate have had to admit we were right.
We'll rise above that.
Yes. Comicsgate will rise below it. Good job, Comicsgate. I didn't know that was possible.
They'll sink below it. They're going to sink so far, they're going to rise.
Yeah, at this point, that's all it could be. Anyways,
it's kind of like, why does a lawyer? Why is it so hard to drown a lawyer?
Because scum floats. What's the difference between an internet lawyer and a dead rabbit on the highway? There are skid marks in front of the dead rabbit. That one's old.
But yeah, also I can deal with a book being late. They actually were stupid enough to think the comic was ever coming out. He took your money.
Yeah,
the end.
You got ripped off. That's all you're ever going to be. Is
fell for a scam
for no reason.
It was an obvious scam.
You supported a pedo.
So many other people in Comicsgate had already pulled it anyway. They promised a comic. They never delivered on it. Richard C. Meyer did that. Ethan Van Sciver did that. Your leaders.
We're going way too fast for a lot of the people listening too. I know that people are like, I can't keep up with this. That's because you're too slow. All of the rest of you are too slow.
I mean, we've been doing these videos for years, so it's not that we're going too fast. It's that the rest of you are too slow.
Yes. I guess we're just way past cool too. There's that element. But Yeah, here's the thing is that I don't think murder will be the next thing for Comicsgate. It could be for all I know. I think it will be just the thing is think about what's public though. They've been like doing gay ops against their own side for years, and
That was one of the first things they did.
They turned a blind eye to it, and or did simping or make excuses for it.
One of the first acts they committed was basically to attack their own side, and fucking Ether Van Sciver just constantly attacks Doug TenNapel, and then his own
it was Nurkish before that.
Fans
before that,
like, why would no love for Comicsgate?
I mean, to be honest, before Nurkish, it was us. The thing is that we already knew we would never be part of Comicsgate because we knew back in 2017 that Comicsgate didn't have any
as soon as they were
principles or ideals.
If you don't like fucking cape shit, you don't like the comics medium. And it's like, I think I like the comics medium more than anyone who likes
Comicsgate. Yeah, but fucking,
and
but
that
also,
is proof.
People who read digital comics aren't real comic fans. That's something that people in Comicsgate not only said, but made excuses for and agreed with. And Richard himself said it. Richard himself said, I don't like digital comics, and I don't think anyone else does either. I have the video clip of him saying that.
You have the video clip of him saying that to somebody asking for a digital copy.
Yes, exactly.
Not just that he doesn't like, I don't like digital.
And this was after he was telling people comic creators need to be a hot dog vendor. You're the hot dog vendor. Just give the customer what they want. And then the customer asks him specifically for something, and he says no. And that was in 2018, and Comicsgate just buried its head in the sand. Every supporter of Comicsgate after that point was endorsing a lie.
They deserve to be made fun of forever for that.
Yeah, and the thing is, this stuff, this is why they're complicit in this stuff, because every time something like this happens, Comicsgate covered it up or supported it. Comicsgate, you gave money to a pedophile. You are complicit in this.
You gave money
and
to
you
a
deserve
pedophile,
to be treated as such.
And then you complained because he got found out. Not because he stole your money, not because you never got the book you paid him for.
Yes.
But because he got found out.
Yeah, that's the big complaint is, oh no, this guy got found out as a pedo. Does that mean I'm not going to get my comic? Well, that's okay. I don't want the book. But I'm okay with books being late. And it's like, where are your priorities as a human being?
I'm okay with getting a book 2 years after the pedophile makes it. But wait, he got caught and sent to prison? Oh no, can I get a refund now?
Here also, this part's very telling. If bad behavior on Twitter is enough for people to not want a book, this is a new level of bad. Bad behavior on Twitter is how these people sum up doxing and attacking each other and their own customers and their own supporters.
Doxing a customer who wanted a refund because they realized they were never going to get a book.
This really isn't a new level of bad either. This is on par with what the rest of them had already been doing. They've been like literally stalking people over YouTube videos, and they had been supporting vocally child abuse in the form of child exploitation by Umbrella Guy exploiting his own child, and people in Comicsgate completely taking his side on it. That is mentally ill. That is mental illness, but that means that every single person in Comicsgate is mentally ill, collectively and individually.
He also knocked over his own mailbox.
Yes, there's also that, but that's part of the inherent gay ops of Comicsgate is Comicsgate will do something to make themselves the victims and then cry for attention, and everyone in Comicsgate, instead of saying, hey, man up, you fucking pussy, will go, look at how they're attacking him with zero evidence. And in fact, based off of lies. Obviously,
evidence disproving them.
Everyone else outside of Comicsgate looks at guys like Tug and even Ethan as just lol cows. That's how not just on Kiwi farms, but a lot of people. It was funny on Revenge of the Sis. They played a clip from Ethan, and they're like, "Okay, we get it, nerd."
They had no idea who he was.
Yeah, and they were actually like, wow, what's wrong with these people? Just watching an Ethan stream with some of those other guys.
That was Ethan's opportunity to make himself look good in front of people who would normally not be part of
Comicsgate. Outsiders who don't know anything about Comicsgate. That was the opportunity, and instead Ethan came off looking like a fucking a total toss pot. Anyways, 22 hours ago, I don't think this book is getting published.
Oh, now you don't think that.
And then here's the story, the news story, Utah County man, blah, blah, blah. And it's like fucking, I don't know. It's weird when just an unrelated topic, because we're about to wrap up. This went for 40 fucking minutes.
We had to cover, we're literally covering 2 full years of content.
Well, it's more like 3 or 4 full entire years.
Yeah, all the detail, all the man hours that would take people like months and months to put together, we just fucking slapped together in 40 minutes.
Yeah, this is just stuff we're recalling off the top of their heads. Like, again, Little Girl Lethal and this Slick Jimmy guy, I don't have any clue who he is. So all I can go by is that there could be more stuff about him. I have no idea. And I think it would be interesting if other people got into it. But aside from that, I don't really... I kind of don't care. It's
no, that's perhaps the worst part. The worst part of all is this doesn't really touch me in any specific way, so I don't give a shit.
Mac Weldon / touch me. Anyways,
use promo code Cumtown.
Use promo code Cumtown to suck my penis.
Suck dictionary.
The fucking stupidest shit ever.
Which is why it's great. It's easily smarter than anything Comicsgate has ever done.
Yeah.
Should we read some of the chat?
Yeah, let's see. Slick Jimmy hung around a group called Fanspeak, which is like Comicsgate Light. There's always been a bunch of like, oh, we're the fans. We need to be respected. But this is proof that fans don't need to be respected. Just don't trash them. Don't trash the fans inherently. But the thing is, if the fan is acting like a cunt, yeah, they deserve to be trashed. And most people in Comicsgate were just whiny fucking cunts the entire time. No fucking exceptions. In fact, some of the biggest, most popular people in Comicsgate are the whiniest people of all. They like to pretend they are neutral ground for all indie comic readers and creators. Well, that if it's not true, if it's not for us, if it doesn't apply to us, it's not an neutral ground or a friendly ground.
More important than anything else is that we are the litmus test. We're
not only some of the best creators of comics, any indie comics at all ever, but we also deliver. We've delivered on our comics. We've put out comics. We've put out more comics than 90% of Comicsgate.
Yeah, we've outproduced them.
Yes. Like War Campaign can't even put out a comic book without then threatening to dox their own backers. So that's not even a real campaign. That's not a real comic book.
They don't make comics.
That's just a gay ops brigade pretending to make comics when none of them have ever made comics before. They're fake creators. That's what Comicsgate supported, was fake creators all along.
They're not real creators. They're a fucking doxing brigade. But now they want to pretend like they're actually big fans of comics.
And Comicsgate paid them. This is very important to realize, is that Comicsgate gave them money. They are complicit. That Comicsgate is guilty of all of this behavior.
Ethan Van Sciver made them famous. Ethan Van Sciver supported them financially.
Yes. The thing is, they didn't exist until he started paying them. He gathered up a bunch of mentally ill people who would do whatever he said, and then he paid them to do it. And 99% of what they would do would it be attacking other people that Ethan personally didn't like. Most of them were other people in Comicsgate. Let's see. Tomorrow's headline: James Gunn comes out as Friends of Comicsgate pedophile. Comicsgate.
The thing is,
he's a Michael Jackson fan.
James Gunn is at least probably innocent.
Yeah, here's the thing. James Gunn just made a saucy fucking tweets. That's his crime.
He did fucking comedy. He did comedy on Twitter in 2010.
He actually made movies, by the way. He made movies.
That's another thing that James Gunn, you can point to James Gunn as having actually accomplished.
He made things. Comicsgate hasn't. Comicsgate made a bunch of false promises and then put out some of the most retarded Z-grade dog shit by people who clearly cannot write. Just incapable. Ethan Van Sciver is incapable of writing on an objective scale. Not my opinion. It's objectively provable.
Nobody's ever praised him for his writing either.
No, in fact, some of his own fans have said that his writing is bad. They're like, I like Ethan, and I've supported Comicsgate, and I funded Cyberfrog, and I like the art; it's really good. But his writing is just the story is just not there.
And he's
And
got
that's the reality of
idiot
comics. They don't care
fans.
about writing.
He's got a lot of moron fans who don't know good writing.
They're just impressed by shiny colors. That's all Comicsgate and most comic book fans
Basically,
are.
what they
Just
like is the
impressed by
colors.
shiny colors and surface gloss.
They
That's
like
it.
the colorist. They don't actually like Ethan's art.
Yeah. In fact, they probably hate Ethan behind the scenes. There's a lot of people. In fact, there's a lot of weird stuff behind the scenes in Comicsgate that we've been told
We
by
didn't even mention the part where
creators
Ethan
who've had interactions with Ethan.
And there's a very believable story about Ethan kidnapping his own wife to get fucking Cyberfrog made in the first place.
Yeah, a very strange story. That's
from the
very
90s.
suspicious, but again, a lot of that's still supposition, or
It's supposition, or at the very least, it's something I can't directly prove right this second.
Yeah, I also certainly can't prove it wrong, though. I mean,
I have no reason to
behavior. I wouldn't be surprised.
The problem he has is I have no reason to disbelieve it.
Yeah, but at this, like, there was a lot of weird stuff about that. But again, I didn't even take it that seriously. But Ethan apparently sure as fuck did.
Which
from U2
joins
joins Comicsgate. Oh no, that's even worse.
Oh, what an asshole. Well, Comicsgate, what a bunch of jerks.
Tug would sell anyone or anything for money. That's the thing, is that by his behavior, I think it's pretty obvious that Tug
he wants
probably
a YouTube career.
sold out his daughter for something really creepy.
He wants a YouTube career above all. He doesn't want to make comics. None of these people want to make comics.
Yeah,
they want to be
all
famous
about the whoring.
They want to be Ninja. They want to be fucking PewDiePie.
Anyone remember the great Ethan versus Razor Fist debate over Michael Jackson, moderated by Cecil? I don't remember that.
I've never heard.
It's got Ethan and Cecil, so it's like you have some of the two like most unfunny losers, like whiny, effeminate nerds in the same room, and then Razor Fist, who's kind of a goofy. I won't call him.
It's literally fucking Razor Fist versus two one-legged men in an ass-kicking contest.
Yeah. And I like Razor Fist. I don't really watch a lot of his videos these days, though the like the Metal Mythos stuff is good and that kind of shit. The stream was retarded. I don't know what Razor expected. It's the thing. I'm sure Razor expected a couple guys who are certainly on my level, and then it turns out now they call Razor Fist like, oh, he's part of the alt-right. He's a Nazi because he's working with Vox Day.
Funny how the again, Comicsgate's supposed to be some kind of protected safe space for the motherfucker.
For the right wing. Yeah, it's like we're for right wing friendly creators, and it's like if you're right wing though, they fucking like it, again. Ethan Van Sciver called Doug TenNapel a homophobe. That's really where Doug was like, I'm not going to have anything to do with this movement. And Comicsgate then gets the events completely flipped around and lies about it, and then pushes the lie. Comicsgate is a lying movement for people who just make up shit that never happened. And Ethan Van Sciver actually pays people to help shore up a false narrative. And in fact, has paid people to do actually illegal stuff. The thing is that nobody follows the paper trail, which is very open and public. It's very, very strange, very creepy, weirdo behavior on Ethan Van Sciver's part. He's a real weirdo. I guess that's why his dad used to call him a disgusting little creature.
He deserved it.
I always assumed creators called their loved work horrible little creatures. You guys don't do that. Yeah, which is, again, something that Ethan did because his dad used to call him that. Allegedly, but also really.
Because he is.
I'm sure a bunch of the backers LARP on Twitter fuck around and find out pedos aren't people. Yeah, that's another thing, is that a lot of these people who are supporting this literal pedo are acting like, yeah, we're against pedos. We attack pedophiles and we go and fucking troll them on the internet. And it turns out they've never done that. And like people in War Campaign used to try to gloat about that, but they never had any stories about like, yeah, there's this one pedo. It always turns out to be nobody. They're just making shit up. They're pathological liars because, again, they're mentally... Most of them live in group homes and shit.
The pedo fucking accusation, both sides do that, and they do it nonstop.
But the thing is, from Comicsgate and War Campaign, it's now proven to be projection. They have endorsed, paid, and supported, and given aid and succor to an actual now convicted pedophile, or if he's not convicted, he's an arrested pedophile, whatever. But I think he pled guilty, so it's like, you know, that there's no conviction needed. Again, though, like, this story just broke, so I don't really even know that much about it.
No, we're engaging in a little speculation, but I tend to be right about 90% of the time.
Yeah, again, because we were speculating months ago, or even a year or two ago, that there's going to be all sorts of worse shit about Comicsgate that will keep coming out.
We already know that they're criminals. We just don't know the extent to the
full extent. We know some of the extent. We just don't know the full extent, which is probably, again, it's most likely bigger than this. If it's not, though, I mean, what does that matter? Comicsgate's going to still make excuses for this and bury their heads in the sand and act like Ethan Van Sciver has nothing to do with this. In fact, they're already doing that. Comicsgate's already simping for their gay uncle Ethan, who paid people to do criminal activity. So anyways, when it comes to actually, like, when Comicsgate, if you want to really put your money where your mouth is, first of all, it's too late. You don't believe in anything, but you're better off supporting real creators like us. But the thing is that on top of that, we also have our Subscribe Star, which is where we post most of our videos, because Comicsgate false flag. Ethan Van Sciver paid somebody in Comicsgate to false flag our channel multiple times. In fact, I think Tug was also, a year or two earlier, Tug was involved in a false flag campaign against us, where he made up fake death threats against himself, claimed that his family was getting death threats. And so he tried to get people to false flag our channel. And I guess it didn't take because, of course, there was no evidence of any of it. And in fact, the evidence proved that he was lying.
And it goes to show, though, how much they hate us, how much.
But it built on that. And I think when YouTube later saw us, they were like, oh, they were false flagged earlier. And of course, they wouldn't call it false flagging. But like, we've gotten reports about these guys earlier, so we'll just fucking get them taken down for, you know, this other obvious false flag. Because they don't really look at any, you know, they don't look at evidence, actually. But that's why, you know, if you want to actually see our videos, we'll do these ones, but these ones are supported. These streams are supported by our Subscribe Star backers, who get access to all sorts of extra bonus stuff, lots of reviews. The first legitimate critical analysis of any of Comicsgate was by our channel, which of course was banned by Comicsgate false flagging us. But again, now I'm starting to repost some of that stuff, but it's going up exclusively behind the paywall on our Subscribe Star. And we have almost daily videos going up, which is, again, a lot of classic stuff that if you're in Comicsgate, some of your favorite creators loved. And that's not my supposition or speculation. They came to me and were like, that video you did was fucking great. For years ago, people who were sort of involved in Comicsgate were like, wow, you guys were completely right about this, or you guys completely called it. There was other stuff that we called years in advance about Comicsgate.
We also have a lot of
the top people know is true, but the little proles, the little insignificant nobodies in Comicsgate are ignorant. They're pegged ignorant of.
There's a lot of people who we refer to as Comicsgate refugees who keep showing up on our Discord.
There's also that, which most of those people aren't welcome, because I don't want people who are like, oh, I used to believe in Comicsgate. And it's like, that means you believed in nothing.
As far as I'm concerned, they're welcome, but I don't want to hear a single word out of them.
No. You're welcome to watch our videos. And the thing is, again, if you actually want to support the real people with real principles, check us out on
actual creators.
Star, yeah. And we have comics too that are, of course, according to other people, better than everything else in Comicsgate. Here's a few more comments and we'll wrap up. I'm sure Tug or Mecca have a body or two under their belts, judging by the intensity of their spirals.
I wouldn't say that. That would be taking too much courage on their part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. They are they're incredible cowards.
Tremendously pathetic people. I couldn't believe Mecca probably stomped like a puppy to death or something. Something along those lines. He murdered a kitten. he stomped a baby to death, something along those lines.
Yeah, or there. I mean, those are just a few just random guesses. There could be way worse stuff, of course.
He laid on top of a child and it suffocated.
Mecca would murder DA Talks, but he was honorably discharged twice the honor as DA. I didn't know they discharge you twice if you're extra gay. That means you're twice as gay.
Mecca has also stolen valor. I'm saying that now, and I don't need any confirmation of it. Go ahead and confirm it if you feel like it. I don't give a shit. He's stolen valor.
Part of the joke. They are Smug Freeze and Mr. Dongs. Tug has proven it. Yeah, that was another thing that hilariously backfired on Tug and his stupid friends,
which we allowed.
But yeah, we walked Tug into that. The thing is that we also walked his dumb friends into that. But there was Tug said that, and even some of his the people who simped for him were like, no, I don't think that's true. But the thing is, also goes to show they didn't have the balls to just say, no, that's not true. You're a liar.
They were like, you fucking idiot.
It's true.
You're going to want to walk that back before you get burned, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, even Nick Rekieta is completely nutless. He's a fucking scrotumless pussy. He has no balls at all when it comes to that kind of stuff. He just sat there like a dope, being like,
he's got as much success. He's got as much success doing any of that shit as he does as a lawyer, which is none at all.
We made that little faggot cry multiple times over, which it just makes me laugh. But
he's never won a case. He's not even a real lawyer.
He was a lawyer for like a few months and quit to become a YouTuber. It turns out you can only do that if you're just living off of a trust fund. Which is the real story behind that.
If you fucking respect anybody with a trust fund, you're just a fucking faggot.
Mecca might be able to lift 300 pounds, but I think he gets winded standing up. Maybe. Well, I mean, hey, if he's 300 pounds and he's able to lift himself,
exactly.
If he stands up, that's technically lifting 300 pounds.
He's going to consider that his bench limit.
Mecca is also an incredible pussy too. He's just a fucking simpering little bitch.
Again, it's like a pattern with all these comicsgate people. He's also completely retarded.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, go ahead. I know there are people who are like,
he's waiting to do something that will prove it.
He's calling people retarded. I'm looking listen to his motherfucking streams. If you don't believe me, by all means, go and listen to every show he does.
And hey, if you like them, please, by all means, go ahead and watch it. Like, if you like Ethan Van Sciver's streams, please feel free to watch all of them.
You like 5-hour-long streams about somebody yet again whining about the last
boring
Jedi?
Gay nerds, objectively, like closeted homosexual nerds talking about dumb, boring shit. Please, by all means.
I mean, nobody's listening to his show, so we know they don't want to.
Well, it's like what was that? I think that Martin Goldberg guy or something did a video where he was like, most people who listen to MGTOW are just, especially these days, are just listening to be told what they already think. And so, but then they'll still just go simp for women and stuff.
But again, a 5-hour stream about how The Last Jedi was a bad movie because it was a bad movie. I didn't like it. It did so bad. A lot of people don't like it too.
It is a bad movie. I don't like it. I continue to not like it. Wow, that's thrilling content.
5-hour streams every single day
of gay nerds.
Year.
Gay nerds. They're not They're not even heterosexual.
The next movie had come out, and they were Ethan Van Sciver was still talking about.
My favorite thing about that was when Last Jedi came out. Richard C. Meyer did videos where it's like, oh, it's actually really good, fun, exciting adventure, and he had to delete. Again, we did a stream about this last week. Richard had to go delete a bunch of he had to delete tens of millions of views worth of videos a couple months ago to cover up evidence that he supported Mark Waid, that he was encouraging his fans to fund Mark Waid while he was suing Mark Waid, and also that he said a bunch of other embarrassing shit. Like he deleted his positive review of Gods of Egypt. He deleted his positive review of The Last Jedi, which somebody had a mirror of, so we were able to find that and still watch it. I'm not that I even want to watch a fucking retard talk about
No,
for
I'm
even
not
10
going to
minutes
watch
about how a bad
I'm not
movie
going
is.
to watch it, but we're going to mirror it ourselves on is it on the BitChute?
Yeah, it's on the BitChute because, like, again, if he takes it down, it's free reign, it's free real estate. So,
But I mean, the key thing is that it's evidence.
yeah,
It's the thing that you need to. All these fucking people. Where's your evidence?
oh yeah, he
We
also
already posted it.
the evidence is public, and it always has been. People in Comicsgate just don't want to look at it. Another thing he deleted though was all of his positive comments about Chip Zdarsky being our guy and that kind of thing. So here's a
That
funny
shit
thing.
was
When
that
tried
I
talking
remember
with
that.
Richard
That was one of
is
the first few breaking points early on, and it's like, oh yeah, he's gonna fucking thick boy in charge, and it's like, I'll wait and see. Don't ever tell me that I'm going to fucking trust.
yeah, don't
fucking
pretend
ever
that you
tell me to
won because
trust
you
the
were
plan.
replaced. Yeah, and actually, I didn't say wait and see. I was like, no, this isn't going to work, and obviously it didn't. It completely blew up in their stupid
Wouldn't
face.
you know it? I was right. We were right.
Yeah, we were right again, as we always are. But another thing he deleted was he deleted the Chip Zdarsky stuff. But basically, what people have been doing is like linking to his videos or referencing videos to get him to delete them. Somebody actually did that recently where they're like, oh, what about this video? In fact, I think somebody went to him and was like, hey, why did you give positive review to TLJ? And all of a sudden the TLJ video is gone. So if you want to fuck with Richard, go to his channel and start leaving comments being like, hey, why'd you leave a positive comment about this SJW guy in this video, and see if the fucking video gets deleted later.
But also try and back it up. Try and preserve it first.
Yeah, mirror the video or something, if in case he deletes it and that kind of shit. And keep the link too, because then you can fucking link to it being either. Because the thing is, he's not unlisting them and he's not privating them; he's deleting them, which is funny, but at his expense.
We're gonna have a good long laugh at his expense.
Yes. Ethan streams these days typically feature 8 old men agreeing with whatever Ethan said.
That was the other thing.
It was always supposed to be, is people who agree with Ethan, and if you don't, then you're a betrayer of Caesar. He would work behind the scenes to fabricate a false narrative of how they were attacking him, and usually it would be front loaded with him paying War Campaign to attack that person, and so that they would block War Campaign. And Ethan would say, "You're blocking the customers. You're a betrayer of the movement." And then all of a sudden,
as if he was a leader or something. Like
Caesar.
Why would he do that if there's no
It's
leader?
why people like Liam Gray still think to this day that Nasser did something wrong. But whenever you see somebody say that, they are people who are obedient by nature. They have no independent thought. Liam Gray and like Micah Bell are not capable of any independent thought.
Micah Stringer Bell.
That's even worse. Or is it better? I don't know.
But yeah, fucking that was another thing about that stream you showed, is just a fucking wall of fucking people in the call. And it's like, you can't really have a good show if it's more than 4 people.
Yeah, it was 10 people all just sitting there, but most of them don't have anything to say. The thing is, if you have 2 people who have anything to say, you don't even need a third. Ethan needs a third because nobody has anything interesting to say.
Ethan needs more than 3.
Most of
Again, all these people, they're fucking doing shows with 10 people in the fucking call.
Anyways,
Ethan and everyone in fucking War Campaign, every War Campaign show is like fucking 10 fucking idiots.
Anyways, we'll wrap this up. And if you want to actually support the Comicsgate documentary, it's posted
real one.
Subscribe Star. So if you want to actually give us, somebody said they would give us money to do it. So if you're actually serious about that, no, not if you're serious about it, go do it. Go donate to our Subscribe Star. If you thought that there should be a documentary about Comicsgate, time to put up or shut up on that.
If you're not serious about it, send us money too.
Yes. If you're if you hate us, there's a $20 tier to make us stop doing videos entirely. So you can donate to us for us to not do videos. But the $5 tier, that and the $20 tier get access to all of our videos. I would love to post some stuff for the $1 tier. Some stuff will go up for the $1 tier. So if you donate $1 to us, there's also a free tier just to be kept up with how often we update. So when we update, you can just get an email. And that means that I can post free news stuff to our Subscribe Star. So you can be kept up with anything going on. Like if Comicsgate false flags our channel again.
Yeah, I was also thinking, since we did that documentary, we should demand our money.
Yeah,
demand our money from the guy who said
for us to make a documentary to pay us now. Go to our Subscribe Star.
Yeah, that guy said that he was going to pay us.
The way Comicsgate will never put their money where their mouth is, it's time for you to show that you're different.
Or show that you are the same and therefore proving us right once again.
Yes. But anyways, again, streams like this, though, are brought to you by our very cool fun backers on Subscribe Star, and also the Patreon, which is being supported just for our comics now, which, again, update every Monday and Friday. Better stuff than anything you'll ever read in Comicsgate. And the few people who made good stuff in Comicsgate, they agree that our comics are better than Comicsgate. But that's a low bar, so.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to measure myself against Comicsgate. I wish I didn't have to.
Yes. I mean, they would be found quite lacking compared to us. But then again, we actually have experience making comics, whereas people in Comicsgate just decided they would be comic creators, where most of them are pathological, lying, mentally ill people. Anyways, all right. Good show. Unlike, share, comment, don't hit the bell for don't notifications. Donate money to our Subscribe Star, even if you hate us. And remember, should have listened to Shitty Webcomics.